going to be talking about a very touchy subject today, but I don't care. Everybody sit down. I got some stuff to say. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing well. A little while ago I made a video talking about my thoughts on social media and how it affects artists, and I really liked making that video, even though it was very different from the stuff that I normally make, and a lot of you guys enjoyed it, so I asked about other topics that you guys wanted me to talk about over on my Instagram, and you guys suggested a lot of great topics. I think I'm going to be talking about a lot of them in the future, but one that really stood out to me was a few people wanted me to talk about cancel culture, and ooh boy, do I got some stuff to say. Everybody, shut the fuck up. I have shit to say. So listen, please. I think the whole cancel culture thing started in like a very kind of innocent place, I guess you could say, of just wanting people to be held accountable for the mistakes they've done, but it's definitely been morphed and twisted into something extremely harmful and toxic. And also, before I get into it, the drawing I'm making has absolutely nothing to do with anything I'm talking about, so just enjoy that. It's made on a Canson mixed media board. I used a bunch of different stuff on it, so that's that. And also, I'm not talking about any one specific person or one specific situation in this video. Things I'm going to say can definitely be applied to specific people or situations. It could be applied to a lot of them, but I'm not thinking of or talking about one specific person or thing in this video. I'm just kind of talking about cancel culture as a whole and things I've seen happen in various situations over the years. So don't leave any comments being like, I can't believe you're defending X person, because I'm not, even though that shouldn't even really be a bad thing, but it is. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. And I don't really have a transition to get into the actual topics, so let's just get into it. Here's my thoughts on cancel culture. Fun, fun, fun. There's this idea that cancel culture has just completely erased, and that's bad people aren't the only ones to do bad. People are so quick to label people as bad people because of things they've said or done, etc. But we've all done bad. I've done bad, you've done bad, your parents have done bad. If you have siblings, guess what? They've done bad. Everybody has done bad, even your best friends, even the people you love. It's a part of life. I've definitely said and done bad things, and I'm definitely going to continue to say and do bad things, because that's a part of life, and we're all just learning about everything, and that's totally fine. But cancel culture makes people forget that. People who engage in cancel culture don't view, like, celebrities, specifically like social media influencers, because that's where cancel culture is like most hot. They don't view these people as people. They view them as like a really weird caricature of a person, where there's the bad person who doesn't want anything than to hurt people, and they're very selfish, which most of the time is not true. And for me personally, whenever a new situation happens on social media, if there's a new controversy, I usually think to myself, okay, well, if this person was somebody that I knew personally, like a family member I cared about, or like one of my best friends, would I feel the same way as the way everyone's reacting? And most of the time, the answer is no. People view things in a very extreme way in cancel culture. It's person A is a really bad person, and person B is perfect and can never do any wrong, and it's no. And I think the first one is a lot more common, because people love to hate on other people, and I don't understand that. There's definitely this very strong sense of superiority within cancel culture. People tend to make other people feel small, and I'm not going to say it's because they want to feel big, because they think that that's okay, because it's different for every single person, but there's definitely a big sense of like, I knew that this was wrong, and you should know that this is wrong, therefore you're bad, which is, again, not true. People just very much decide a person is bad or wrong, if we're being honest. And again, another thing that cancel culture has just completely made people forget. Things are very rarely as black and white as people want to make it seem. People really try to make it as cut and dry as person A is wrong, person B is right, person A is horrible, person B is victim. Things are very rarely that simple. Like, okay, let's say in the bigger picture, person A is wrong, but what caused person A to do that? Did person B push them to do that? And why, if that's the case, then why did person B do that? Is it because things happened to them in the past to make them think that their actions are okay? And even if person A is wrong and reacted horribly, what was their thought process in doing all of that? And also, person A, even if they are in the end wrong, might have some valid points, and person B might not be saying things that make complete sense. Is this making sense? speaking of making sense, but I hope it does. It's never as simple as like, this person's right and this person's wrong. Even if a person is objectively in the wrong, that doesn't mean that they don't have things of value to say about the situation, you know? Even if they do have something of value to take away from the whole situation, people ignore that because, again, people have already decided if you're wrong or if you're a bad person. And they tend to let those pre-existing feelings not let them see things for what it is. So if let's say person A, the person who's wrong, I guess, in this scenario, I don't know when this started happening, but let's say person A is wrong, but they have some valid stuff to say. Or even if person A isn't wrong and they're trying to like defend themselves because they have that pre-existing thought of they're wrong and they're a horrible person, they're basically just plugging their ears and looking away. They're not actually processing the words that people have to say. They already go into a situation deciding what the outcome is. They don't look at things for what they are. And they'll always say things that are like, oh, you're just making excuses, oh, you should have known better. By the way, the phrase should have known better, like, I hate when people just say that. Let's say even if a person should have known better. There's a lot of things that I've done where I should have known better at the time, but I didn't. There's a million reasons why someone might not know better. And also, that's not to say that, like, we should be excusing something if they've done something wrong. Like, I think that if they are in the wrong when they should have known better, they should very much take accountability for it, but I think it's a really shitty thing to do in general, to blame someone for something that they just genuinely did not know. There are 1,000,001 lessons to learn in life, and you're not going to learn all of them when you need to learn them, you know? You have to hurt people to learn lessons, and it sucks, and I wish we didn't have to do that, but fucking, it's life, man. Everybody's path in life is different. You might have learned a lesson early. You might have learned a lesson, quote unquote, when you were supposed to. But like, here, let me explain it like this. So I'm 20. I am a young adult, but then also like people who are younger, like 16, 14, maybe even 12, they look at me as like I'm supposed to be this grand, mature being, but no, I'm only 20. Like there's a lot that I don't know, and I feel like your 20s and even your 30s are just a lot of figuring out what the fuck is happening and how to be an adult and how to function in the world. And so a lot of the people who say like you should have known better is a child, like a young teenager, or like some sort of teenager talking to someone in like their mid or late 20s that they should have known better. But really, like, should they have known better? Even if technically speaking they do, they're still trying to figure out how to get through life, just like the rest of us. As a 20-year-old, I can say, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I need to stop saying fuck. This is... But do you get my point? Like, people are so quick to say things like, you should have known better. So when do people start getting their first jobs? Like, sometime in high school? I've never had, like, a traditional job. My only job has ever been YouTube. I've never done any type of work outside of YouTube. I don't have the same like experience as everybody else. But because I didn't have that experience, I've learned things a little bit later than other people. Like, it took me a little bit longer to figure out things like how to pay a bill. A lot of people, when they start getting their first job, like they'll start paying their own phone bill, but since I haven't had like a traditional job and I got my job a little bit later than a lot of people, it took me a little longer how to pay bills. That's like a very small example, I guess, but it's an example that can be applied to a lot of different things. Everybody has different paths. There's a million reasons why I didn't get a job when all of my friends were, but this video isn't about that. But that's the thing. It's like, you don't know. You do not know. You don't know a person's experience, and people are so quick to assume that they do. I rambled on much longer on that point than I was expecting to. But anyways, my initial point that I made in the beginning of this video, the entire origin of it was to hold people accountable, right? But that's the thing, it doesn't hold people accountable. If anything, I think cancel culture makes people afraid of accountability. I have had people in my life where if something's wrong, whether I'm in the wrong or not, whenever there's a situation that needs to be addressed, they just go straight into the situation on 100, just way turned up, immediately coming in. Even if they aren't yelling specifically, they're very passive aggressive and using angry words, saying things like, I can't believe that you would do this, how would you, like, why would you do that, you're so selfish. And like, if you go into a conversation like that, Like, if you go into a conversation insulting somebody and yelling at somebody, expect the response for them to do the same and yell at you and defend themselves and be like, no, I'm not. That's what cancel culture is. They don't just ask for things to be addressed. It's so intense. You're a horrible person. How could you do this? Like, you're the scum of the earth, stuff like that. A big thing that people get ragged on a lot for is being defensive or making excuses. But that's just the thing. If you have thousands, or in some cases, millions of people telling you every single day that you're a horrible person and you're selfish and you just like attention and so you're hurting other people, whatever the excuse is, person's response, it doesn't matter if they give a genuine apology. Most people's response is to say, no, I'm not. That is not me. But then when that does happen, people are saying, oh, you're just defensive, you're making excuses and stuff like that. Because of how intense people start off, like, nothing gets solved, really. Whenever there's a new, like, controversy with a new, like, public figure, how many times have you walked away from this situation being like, I've learned a lesson? Fucking never. Because people don't let that happen. People don't try and have productive conversations. They don't try to, like, have some sort of, like, overall lesson that we should all be learning and something that we should all take away and so then we can move on from this situation. It's never that. It's just people want to continuously insult people, which isn't holding people accountable, in case you haven't known. And so, like, let's say a person responds to a situation, right? There's usually one or two scenarios. They either get defensive or do make a genuine apology. Assuming the damage has already been done and this person is generally unliked at this point, if they do give a genuine response and a genuine, like, apology, I guess is a better way to say it. If they give a genuine apology, people will say, oh, well, you're just making excuses, or you're just trying to do damage control. But then also, if somebody gets defensive and tries to shift the blame on somebody else, then they'll say, like, oh, well, you're being defensive. So, like, it doesn't matter. And, like, that's why there are some people who choose to not respond to this sort of stuff, because no response is the right answer. Like I said before, people have already decided if you're guilty or not guilty. So it doesn't matter what you say. Even not responding isn't a right answer, because then people will take the silence and be like, oh, well, you're not saying anything, so that clearly means you're wrong. So, like, there truly is no right thing to do. You know how on Twitter there's always, like, X person is over party? If you are the X person, people have already decided you're guilty and they will do whatever they can and say whatever they can to make sure that you stay the bad guy, you know? And people will look at the smallest things to discredit you. Like, oh, this person looked away from the camera at this point, so therefore they're lying, and it's stupid. Like, I don't know, I feel like I'm getting heated. I'm gonna try and chill. But I've seen a lot of situations where people just blow things out of proportion. There are the smallest things that people make into the biggest deal. So a lot of the times when that does happen, the person is generally, like, not liked on the internet. But then if somebody who is generally liked on the internet made that exact same mistake or said that exact same thing, people would ignore it, or it would blow over a lot easier and people would be so much more forgiving. It's incredibly hypocritical, and the double standards in cancel culture are insane. So if it is somebody who is well liked, it's very much like, oh, it's okay, you didn't mean to, we all love you. But then if it's somebody who isn't well liked, they will keep pushing and holding it over somebody's head until you break, and then when you break, they laugh. So I think a big goal in everybody's life is to be a better person, right? Just to grow into a better person. And even within cancel culture, the people are being attacked. I'll see various people say they want them to be a better person and to, like, just be a better person because you're a horrible person. But if you hold something over somebody's head like that, you aren't letting them grow into a better person. And then also while actively preventing them from growing and moving on, like people claim they want to happen, once that person breaks, then they turn into a laughingstock. So, like, do you really want them to grow into a better person, or are you just saying that to make yourself look better? Now, I don't know about you, but I do not think it's funny to break people, or to watch people break. I didn't think that was that hot of a take, but apparently it is. I have seen way too much of somebody standing up for someone and saying, this isn't okay. Like, the way that everyone is treating this person is not okay. Look at the damage we've done. Look at how hurt they are. And then somebody will respond and saying, oh, well, it's X person, so it's funny. But it's never funny. It doesn't matter who it is. Watching someone get to that point should not be laughed at, should not be mocked, should not be made into memes. It's disgusting. A big part of cancel culture is just hopping onto a bandwagon, right? Just the feeling of being included and just all laughing at somebody's breakdown together. That's not cool. Like, I don't think that, like I said, it's not funny to watch somebody break, but it's also not fun to just let other people decide for you. I have seen so many people just, again, like I said, hop on this bandwagon of hate, and people don't look into things themselves. Like, if some YouTuber or some social media star makes like an apology video, some drama channel will be like, oh, well, this person said this, but they're horrible still. And then people will watch that video rather than the apology video and be like, well, all right, they're still a horrible person. Instead of like looking into the situation themselves and being like, okay, maybe I do feel like they're wrong, but also here's where they're coming from, you know? People don't think for themselves anymore. And it's irritating. No, irritating doesn't even begin to describe it. It's frustrating and it's sad. So to all of my lovely viewers out there, just, if there's any one takeaway from this video, because I feel like all I've been doing is ranting, and I'm sorry, I don't think I'd ever make a rant video, but I guess this is the closest I'll get to a rant video. But there's one thing, if there's anything I want you to take away from this video, it's think for yourself. If somebody says person X is horrible, or person B is selfish, or person C is attention-seeking, and then person D is perfect, like, just think for yourself, form your own opinions. The next time a situation arises, I'm going to challenge you to look into things yourself, actually see things from a different perspective, because that is one thing that cancel culture has kind of made everyone forget to do, which is something I learned in kindergarten. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. But apparently that's not a lesson that people stick. You guys should have known better. I'm sorry. Anyways, I didn't think you guys would ever see Angry Oliver, but I feel like I got angry, so I apologize. Now, of course, this is just my thoughts, my opinions. If you feel differently, feel free to let me know. We can have a nice conversation about it, because that's what we do on this channel. We don't argue over petty shit, we have discussions about things. So, let me know what you thought. Let me know if there are things that you agree with that I said, or if there's anything else regarding this topic that you want to know more about in terms of my opinion. Feel free to comment them down below. I will try to respond. Let's just talk. And if you're new here, hello, I am Oliver. This is very different from the stuff that I normally make, but I usually make art stuff. I mean, I drew in this video, but I normally make art videos and I talk about art a lot and stuff. I guess I'm going to start doing these videos more often because everyone seems to like them, so if any of that is something that you're interested in, feel free to stick around. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to see more from me, you can follow me on social media, which will be on screen now and linked in the description box below. Following me on Instagram is the best place to follow me on, aside from here, because like I said in the beginning, I ask people on Instagram for topics and stuff, and just keep you guys generally updated. And there will also be some videos on screen now and linked in the iCard for you to check out if you want. I would really appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.